6:01 new this morning. New rules in Missouri will help some medical professionals fast track their licensing process.
Governor Mike Parson signed a bill last week to attract more doctors and medical experts to the state. WGEM's Ryan Hill is live in Hannibal with what this could mean for local hospitals. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning. Now, the new law fast-tracks the licensing process for doctors, counselors, and social workers. Those officials at Blessing Health System hope that that'll speed up the process. Now, the administrative coordinator says Blessing Health System likes to have their doctors licensed in both Illinois and Missouri, and even Iowa, so their staff can operate in different clinics. However, the Missouri licensing process can take anywhere from 4 to 6 months, which can leave some areas short of physicians. She hopes the new law will cut that time in half.
It is a pretty lengthy application process, which also requires them to produce their proof of education from medical school, residency, fellowship, etc. So what this compact does is once they've already provided all of those documents for one state, then that information can be shared.
She says they struggle to recruit physicians as quickly as they would like, and a lack of physicians means there could be a lack of care in an area and potentially force people to drive miles for care or fill up emergency rooms. Now, hospitals aren't the only ones expected to benefit from this. We'll hear how this can help the staff and patients at a mental health facility in the next half hour. Live in Hannibal, Ryan Hill, WGEM News.
Ryan, thank you. Hodson says she wishes sharing fast-tracking information between states was much easier and hopes legislation will create that. The law takes effect August 28th.
Hundreds